Shalom, shalom. So before I get started with this lesson, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and infinite glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Barachak, Wadash. Give a double honors unto the head apostles of Great Millstone who do rule well and teach well with sound doctrine. Shalom to the elders and the elder bishops of Great Millstone as well. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings unto the hopeful elect, the men, women, and children listening and learning. For the servants of prophets of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and a hearty shalom to the sincere brethren doing the work in truth and sincerity, giving diligence to make their calling and election sure. Shalom, shalom. So this is Brother Ashamath, just back at you with another quick hit style lesson. Was going through some points in my last lesson, just talking about the Apocrypha and how it's needed to tie certain breakdowns, prophecies together, like Esau, Edom being, the wicked, the children of Esau, Edom being the Greeks, First Maccabees, the 3rd chapter, them being the wicked, them being the children of Esau, Edom, the Greeks who came against Judas Maccabees, tying the third beast into the Greek Empire, the leopard, and tying in the book of 2nd Esdras to end time prophecy as well, which is the Romans. And I was making those points back to back without specifically mentioning that 2nd Esdras is talking about the Roman Empire. So Salaki. Let's go through that real quick and add some clarification, Lord's will, some edification, and let's go through it. Quick hit style. Lord's will, if the Spirit allows, I'll go through a lengthy breakdown of it. If the Spirit allows, later on, maybe next week, 2 weeks from now, whenever the Spirit allows, of course. But let's go through a quick hit style version of it. Let's go to Daniel, the 7th chapter. Let's just run through it real quick. In the first year of Belshazzar being the son of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed, the visions of the 4 kingdoms that would come to reign and rule with authority. Then he wrote the dream and he told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. And those 4 beasts are the 4 major empires to rule. The first being the Babylonians, the second being the Medo-Persians, the third being the Greeks, and the 4th being Rome. Daniel 7:4. The first was like a lion, talking about the Babylonians, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon his feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, the second like to a bear. And there was actual recent archaeological findings of Persian soldiers having actual bear claws. Let's just look that up real quick. Persian soldiers, bear claws. Yep, and this happened recently. Bear paw used by warriors in Islamic, India, Persia. So the ancient Persians, this is what they used. And this is why, the modern day, Medes who occupy the land where the sons of Japheth used to be, aka the modern day Medes, aka Russia, are called the bear, because they occupy the lands where the Medes used to stay. And the Medes and the Persians were a joint empire. The Medes being the sons of Japheth, and the Persians, being Elam, Elamites. Slaki, the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter. But let's pull this up one more time. This came out recently on the community tab. I seen this. A brother posted it. Exquisite bear armor, Cyprian guard, Persian, Islamic, etc., etc. But this is worn by the Persian soldiers. Bear claws, Daniel 7:5. And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and had 3 ribs in the mouth between of the teeth. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. Because the Persians, man, they were known for putting hell on Jake, man. You know, even though they let us rebuild the empire, they let us rebuild the temple, Slakia. They let us rebuild the temple. They were still putting hell on Jake. They were putting hell on our people, man. They ruled with authority, regal authority. This is Daniel 7:6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard. Now, if you read in the Josephus, it talks about how Alexander the Great wore a leopard skin hat. Let's just pull it up on Google. Alexander the Great leopard skin. So Alexander the Great, he actually had a hat that had leopard skin on it. I want to get an image of it, Salakia. Yep, that's a depiction of it right here. He actually had a hat that was a skinned leopard's head, that he used to wear. Slacky. Phone's tripping. Just to give you a visual, this is how the hat would basically look. He actually had an actual leopard skin, helmet that he would wear. Daniel the 7th chapter and the 6th verse. And after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, talking about the Greeks, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, and the breast had also 4 heads, talking about the 4 generals that were rise, Ptolemy, Seleucus, Antiochus, etc. Which had upon the back of its 4 wings of a fowl, the beast had also 4 heads, talking about the 4 generals, who became rulers, who became kings, basically. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. This is the 4th beast, talking about Rome. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, talking about the Roman Empire, who reigned with an iron fist. And it had great iron teeth, and devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. This is talking about Rome. And the Rome was the first empire, I believe, to use iron weapons, swords and whatnot, So, Slakia. So let's go into, this is going to be a quick hit style breakdown. I don't want to get too extensive with it because, I don't want to be here for another hour and a half, because, that'll be for another time where I go into every single, precept, and go into every single, point, break it down, so on and so forth, the 10 horns and so on and so forth. But it's just going to be a quick hit style lesson. So let's go into 2nd Esdras, the 11th chapter, and let's go into right here. Let's go to the point. Right here. Let's get 37 down to the end, and any precepts that come to mind that tie everything together. This is 2nd Esdras 11 and Slakia. Let's get 38. Hear thou, I walk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, art not thou it that remainest of the four beasts who I made to reign in my world? That four beast parable that's being talked about is the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter, where you had the four empires that were given rule in the world. The first being the Babylonians, the second being the Medo-Persians, the bear, the third being the leopard, and the fourth, being, the beast, man, the dragon, Rome, man, Let's keep it going. Yep. And this beast later on became a dragon. You can read about that in the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter, the 13th chapter, so on and so forth. 20th chapter, the serpent, old serpent from the garden, who is the devil and Satan, who is the dragon as well. This is 2nd Esdras 11. Let's get right to the point. Let's go to 39. Art not thou it that remainest of the four beasts who I made to reign in my world? Talking about Babylon, the Persian Medes, the Greeks, and then the fourth beast being Rome. Are not thou that it that remainest of the four beasts who I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? And we know that's a prophecy that's being talked about in a couple places. Let's go to Luke 21, and let's get that point real quick. Luke 21. Until the end of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Yep. To the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Yep. Let's go to, Luke 21 and 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and they shall be led away captive into all nations, talking about Israel, And Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, in the Paleo Hebrew, Lashon Kodash, shall be trodden down of the Gentiles. What Gentiles? The Romans, man. The fourth beast. Until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And we're in that time right now, where the time of the Gentiles, Gentile rulership, Esau, Edom, Edomite rulership is just about being fulfilled. 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter. Let's go into it. 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter. Esdras is the Greek way of saying Ezra, the prophet Ezra. And it reads 2nd Esdras 15, and let's get 5 and 6. Behold, I will bring plagues upon the world, and those plagues are talked about in the book of Luke, the 21st chapter, and Matthew, the 24th chapter. And we're supposed to look out for those plagues and give warning of those plagues, because those plagues are end time prophecies, pestilence, disease, famine, them looking to, implement a famine of bread, and then eventually them looking to implement a famine of the word, them looking to push the charagma, man. Those are end time prophecies we're supposed to look out for. This is 2nd Esdras 15 and 5. Behold, saith the Lord, Adonai Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction, all being facilitated by that fourth beast, which is the Romans, the modern day Romans, man. Esau, Edom, the beast, the dragon, he's the facilitator of the famine. He's going to bring great death and destruction through his ICBM missiles and through everybody who doesn't take his charagma, man. People are going to be starved out. People are going to be thrown into these concentration camps. People are going to be trotting each other down for the lack of bread and food and water. We see that happening in other places of the world. This is 2nd Esdras 15 and 6. For wickedness, and we know that wickedness exceedingly polluted the earth when Esau, Edom came into rulership under the Greeks. It talks about that in the book of 1 Maccabees 1. It talks about the evils were multiplied in the earth. When King Alexander, came on the scene and he died, his 4 generals put crowns upon themselves, men, on their heads. and their sons after them. And then wickedness was multiplied and evils were multiplied in the earth. Pedophilia, homosexuality, bestiality, do art thou will mentality, the whole nine. Christianity, Catholicism, Islam, all inventions of Esau, Edom. This is 2 Esdras 15:6. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. That's what's being talked about in the book of 2 Esdras, the 11th chapter. Let's keep it going. 2 Esdras 11. And, let's get the point. That their end might come through them. 2 Esdras 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob, Yaiqua, for Ishashua, that's the Hebrew way of saying Esau, Ishashua, a waste away is he, is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed, Yaiqua. And we're in the end of his eon, his rulership, his dominion, the time of the Gentiles being fulfilled. 2 Esdras 11 and 39 again. Are not thou it that remainest of the four beasts, being the fourth beast, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? Those who reign an hour with the beast, and the beast, will no longer be ruling, man. All heathen rulership will come to an end when our Lord Yahweh Shai cracks the sky, which is coming soon. This is 2 Esdras 11 and 40. And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness. And that's talked about in the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter. Yep. It's like it. And beheld the four beasts. It's like it. And I saw in the night visions a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth, and it devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and had 10 horns. Yep. It's lucky. Let's keep it going. Let's try to wrap this up in the next 5 minutes or so. The Spirit allows. Yep. 2 Esdras 11 and 40. And the fourth came and overcame the beasts that were past, because when the Greeks were taken out of power, they were taken out of power by the Romans, And this fourth beast was diverse from all the other kinds of beasts as far as the rulerships and kingdoms, because it reigned like no other, with the iron fist, coming and conquering lands, territories, coming up in your territory, taking down your flags, and, calling himself you. That's what he did, with a lot of the places that he conquered, man, naming himself the Europeans and so on and so forth, the Romans, et cetera, when those original lands were occupied by the sons of Japhet, the Medo-Persians, the Medes, better yet, the Medo-Persian Empire, and the Mede, faction of it, the sons of Japhet being the Medes, the Persians being Elam, which was a joint rulership, which was mentioned earlier. Just wanted to bang the point home. 2 Esdras 11 and 40. And the fourth came out and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth, which much wickedness, with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelled he upon the earth with deceit. Now, where's that talked about? Revelation, the 20th chapter, just tying everything together. Let's get the whole thing. Yep. This is Revelation 20 and 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit. That bottomless pit is Europe. And a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. That old dragon, Esau, Edom, who's being revitalized through the Roman Empire. The beast, which is the devil and Satan, Shaitan, the adversary, in the flesh, and bound him 1,000 years, because for 1,000 years he was in the caves, of Georgia, Russia, you know, in the Caucasus Mountains, you know, humping his mom, eating juniper roots, through, you know. And Jake was in rulership. They call that the Dark Ages. Why? Because Esau, Edom was out of power and Jake was in power from the late 300s to like the mid 1300s, 1,000 years roughly, you know. And cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more. This is being talked about in the book of 2nd Esdras, the 11th chapter, in the 40th verse. That fourth beast, you know. Yep. 2nd Esdras 11 and 40 in the middle, and over the whole compass of the earth, with much wicked oppression, with so long time dwell he upon the earth with deceit. And that's one of his main ways of, you know, getting things. If it's not by the sword, it's through deceit, you know. And that's talked about in the book of 2nd Thessalonians, the 3rd chapter, with all deceivableness and lying wonders. Let's just get that. 2nd Thessalonians 2 and 11. Almost went to 3. And I don't want to make this long-winded, but hey, points come out, you got to drive them home. 2nd Esdras 2 and 8. And then shall thou wicked be revealed. And we're living in the time where Esau, Edom is being revealed. You know, Jeremiah 49 and 10. For I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. And then shall thou wicked be revealed. Capital W. This is talking about the Edomites. And then shall thou wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth through the prophets. And he shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, when he comes with the fathership. And we're going to give Esau and Edom a play-by-play till Yahushua cracks the sky, or until they take us off the unicorn, which is biblical prophecy, the family of the word. This is 2 Thessalonians 2 and 9. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. There goes that deceit, that deceivableness. That's the point. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 10. And with all deceivableness and unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of truth, that they might be saved, because they believe a lie, which is in the next precept. Let's just keep it going. Wrap it on up real quick. Let me see. Revelation, did we get that? Did we get the whole thing? Yeah, I think we didn't get the whole thing. Let's get the whole thing. Yep. Revelation 23, and cast him into the bottomless pit, talking about Europe, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. Talking about Esau, Edom coming out of the Caucasus Mountains, you know, and taking rule over the entire earth. For the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Through the rebirth, you know. The words just left my mind right now, but the revitalization of the Roman Empire, you know, through the rebirth, you know, him coming out and taking rule over Europe and the whole earth, you know, from the literally 1400s on, you know. The Renaissance, the Wadi Abba Shemi Ashah. The terminology was just slipping my mind. Let's keep it going. Let's wrap it on up. Just wanted to bang some points home because I was running through those pieces of information, and sometimes you run through things fast and you forget sometimes to make a point. And for those who may be new to the channel, brothers may actually watch that lesson and think I actually was talking about, you know, 2nd Esdras 11 being about Greece, and I was talking about Greece. Just wanted to bang the point home that that's Rome, and go through it real quick. You know, let all things be done to edification. You know, Lord's will, this is edifying. This is 2nd Esdras 11 and 41. For the earth hast thou not judged with truth, for thou hast afflicted the meek. Who's the meek? The Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Seminole Indians, and you so-called Haitians. And you scattered Israelites who may look like the other nations. You may look like Esau. You may look like Japhet. You may look like Moab. You may look like Ammon. You may look like Elam. But your spirit bears witness with this doctrine, with this word. If your spirit bears witness, then we are the children of the Heavenly Father. Romans 8 and 16. For thou hast afflicted the meek, and thou hast hurt the peaceable. Thou hast loved liars. Once again, with all deceivableness and lying wonders, you know. Thou hast loved liars and destroyed dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. And that's what he did to Jerusalem, man. He came in, killed the prophets, blockade and sieged us, starved us out, and killed a lot of Jake, man. It got so bad that we had to flee into West Africa, through Northern Africa, man. And the other parts. 2nd Esdras 11:43. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up to the highest, and thy pride to the mighty. Another characteristic of Esau, It also says in the scriptures that his sins has reached unto the heavens, man. Homosexuality, bestiality, transhumanism, transgenderism, all abominations, man, which he promotes. He says, you're wrong, you're crazy if you speak out against it, man. No, you're wrong, man. 2nd Esdras 11:43. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up to the highest. Let's get that real quick. Sins have reached the heavens. It's in the book of Revelation. I want to say it's 11, but it might be 12. Yep, Revelation 18:5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Talking about who? Babylon the Great, which is ran by Esau, Edom. The Edomites, a.k.a. modern day Rome. 2nd Esdras 11:43. And thy pride unto the mighty. The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rock. Obadiah 1:3. And Obadiah is talking about the judgment of the nation of Esau, Edom. 2nd Esdras 11:44. Thy highest also had looked upon the proud times. So it says thy highest also had looked upon the proud times. And we know Esau, Edom, to be a proud man. Therefore, pride compasseth them as a garment, Sirach 33 identifies them as being prideful as well. Let's get that as well. Sirach 33. Let's go to 17. Let's get right to the point. 35, might be 35. Keeps on happening to me today, man. I'm tripping. 35. 18, right? Yep. Sirach 35:18. The Lord will not be slack. Also, that's said in the book of 2 Peter 3:9-11. He's not slack concerning his promise. For the Lord will not be slack, neither will the mighty be patient toward them, till he have smitten in sunder the loins of the unmerciful, and repay vengeance to the heathen, the Gentiles. Not the Israelite foreigners. This is talking about Esau, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And repay vengeance unto the heathen, till he have taken away the multitude of the proud. Who's the proud? Esau. And broken the scepter of the unrighteous. And also that's said in the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter. Yahweh Shemashai has broken the scepter of the rulers. Take this proverb against the king of Babylon, roughly paraphrasing. This doctrine, man, these words, for the word of a king is there is power. And this is the most powerful message on the planet. The word of the Heavenly Father. The real doctrine, 2nd Esdras 11:44. The highest also had looked upon the proud times, talking about the rulership of Esau, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. We just brought that out in 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter. Slakia. And that's going to be the fate of people who follow the ways of Esau, Edom, the 2/3 of our people, reprobate silver, dross. Since that precept came up on the screen right here. 2nd Esdras, Slakia. I just had it right here. 2nd Esdras 15:6. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth. And who's the border line of wickedness? Esau, man. And they shall call them the border of wickedness. And the people against whom Yahweh Bashim Yahshua had righteous indignation, Malachi 1 and 4. Who's that being talked about in Malachi 1 and 4? Edom, Ishashua, Esau, man, who's still here. They're ruling the modern day empire that's in power. Babylon the Great, you know, NATO and the EU, all Edomites, man, you know, that fourth beast, you know. This is 2nd Esdras 11 and almost done with it, yep. 2nd Esdras 11 and 46, and therefore appear no more. Just like the ancient Egyptians were taken out of power, modern day Egypt is going to be visited with plagues and be found no more at all in rulership, in power. Just like after the Lord destroyed Pharaoh and his army, the Egyptians never came back into power. They're over there in southern Sudan, stinky, nasty, tall, ugly, through. 2nd Esdras 11 and 46. 2nd Esdras 11 and 45. Yep. Let's get 44 again. The highest also looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. Their hurtful works are fulfilled. And therefore appear no more, thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body, that all the earth may be refreshed and may return, being delivered from thy violence. You know, this came out in the Revelation, this came out in the lesson earlier, Salaki. Revelation 18 and 21. It talks about with great violence shall Babylon the Great be destroyed, the great city, who's ruled by Esau. You know, the children of Esau. Ashashua, waste away his seed. Revelation 18 and 21. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with great violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down and be found no more at all. That backs up that second. My goodness, it keeps on happening to me. It's like it. I'm going to slow down. That backs up 2nd Esdras, the 11th chapter, you know. In several points in 2nd Esdras 11, it talks about feathers being seen no more at all, heads being seen no more at all, so on and so forth, you know. Just get one of those points. It's like it. Yep. And behold, lo, there was one set up, but shortly it appeared no more. And that's said several times in 2nd Esdras, the 11th chapter, you know. And 2nd Esdras 11 and 22. And after this I looked and beheld the 12 feathers appeared no more, nor the two of the feathers. 2nd Esdras 11 and 26. And I beheld, and lo, there was none set up, but it shortly appeared no more. Revelation 18 and 21. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with great violence shall that great city, Babylon, Babylon the Great, talking about America, because America is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles coming from the Russians, coming from the Chinese, coming from the Iranians, coming from the Persians, the modern day Persians, you know, India, Elam, you know, coming from Egypt, you know, coming from Cush, coming from all the nations in the EU and NATO. They're going to turn on Babylon the Great, coming from their former allies, you know, France, Britain, so on and so forth. It talks about that in the book of Revelation 17 and 16, you know, and these 10 horns shall hate the whore, NATO, you know, and shall make her naked and burn her with fire. Revelation 18 and 21. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with great violence, thus with violence shall that great city, Babylon, Babylon the Great, America, be thrown down and shall be found no more at all. 2nd Esdras 11 and 47, to pound the point home, and Lord's will. This lesson was edifying and clarifying. You know, sometimes we speak fast, we make points fast, and you know, we may misspeak every now and then. And it's time to do a correction video every now and then, you know, for things that come out, you know, especially if you can find the point to be edifying. And this is just one of those times, you know, I felt a clarification video was needed. was needed for that point. Even though we do misspeak, we want to make sure we're breaking down things properly. It talks about that in the book of Sirach. There's one that misspeak with his heart, but his mind has not slipped. But at the same time, you want to make sure that, things are on point. And if you can do another video to clarify, edify, so on and so forth, the Spirit's on you to do it, hey, do it. So it's one of those times where the Spirit hopped on me just to, hey, just bring it home. Let's pound the point home, with Rome being 2nd Esdras, the 11th chapter. And Lord's will, this video was edifying. 2nd Esdras 11 and 46, then all the earth may be refreshed, because the earth is going to be a paradise again. When Esau, Edom's taken into power, and the elect, are reigning under Yahweh Shai, it's going to go back to Idan, which is Hebrew for paradise, Eden. Then that all the earth may be refreshed and may return, being delivered from thy violence, from the violent man, the bloody man, which came out a little earlier. Let's get a few precepts that back that point up. This is Psalms 58. Psalms 58. Yep. Let me see. Might be. Yeah, Psalms. Was that 50? Psalms 59. Slacking. Yep. Man, come on. Phone's tripping. This is Psalms 58, right? Psalms 59 and 1. Yep. Deliver me from my enemies, O Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai, O my power. Defend me from them that rise up against me. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity, and save me from bloody men. What bloody men? Esau, Edom, the children of Esau. This is Matthew 11 and 12. From the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven, talking about Jerusalem, the Israelites, suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. What violent? Revelation, the 6th chapter and the 4th verse. The red horse, who was given a great sword. Let's just get it real quick. Revelation 6 and 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. That's Esau, Edom, that red horse, that was given a great sword. And power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And that great sword that was given unto him was a consolation prize from Isaac in the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter, the 40th verse, And by thy sword shalt thou live. And that's how Esau, Edom's live, by his sword, by his military, by thievery, robbery, deceit. That's that thief that Yahweh Shai was talking about in John the 10th chapter. The thief came not but to steal and to kill and to destroy. That same thief is going to be visited by the chariots of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai. This is Proverbs 4 and 17, and it reads, for they eat the bread. Oh, come on, man. Proverbs 4 and 17, and it reads, for they eat the bread of wickedness, and we know them to be the border of wickedness. And if you look up Job 9 and 24, that word wicked, if you look it up in the Strong's definition, the etymology of the actual word, if you look it up a second time, and click on the etymology of rasa, which is the Hebrew word, Strong's H 8195, I believe, or maybe 8165. It came out a little earlier. If you go into the etymology of that word, it goes into another word, and one of the definitions is wickedness. And one of the definitions in the first definition is ungodly, which are both ways that Esau, Edom is described in the scriptures. The wicked, the ungodly, the man of sin, the violent man, the bloody man, the thief. Proverbs 4 and 17, for they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. Just to cover the point that this is that violent man. This is Psalm 73 and 6. And it reads, Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. They wear pride like a chain, you know. Violence Slakia, I'm gonna read it again from the top. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. You know, for they eat the bread of wickedness and they drink the wine of violence. This is that violent man that's being talked about in the book of Matthew, the 11th chapter, and the book of 2nd Esdras, the 11th chapter, and the final verse to close on out. 2nd Esdras 11 and 46, that all the earth may be refreshed and may return being delivered from thy violence. And that's also that has had a perpetual hatred. I want to say it's Isaiah 34 and about 6. Isaiah 34 or 5. Yep. 35, it's like it. Perpetual hatred. Might be Ezekiel. Come on. Ezekiel 35, Slakia, and 5. For thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. Once again, the violent, you know, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, talking about Jerusalem, the Holy Land. There's not angels in the heavens fighting against the Lord, you know. He that liveth forever created all things, and all things are subject unto him. Let's just prove that with Sirach, the 18th chapter. You know, Sirach 18, and it reads, he that liveth forever hath created all things. In general, the Lord only is righteous, and there is none other but he who governeth the world with the palm of his hand, and all things obey his will. All things, dominions, spirits, so on and so forth. He's created them all. You know, angels on the left hand and on the right hand side. They all obey the will of the Heavenly Father. You can read about that in the book of Job, the 1st and the 2nd chapter, you know, where Satan comes to appear before the Lord, you know, because he's a child of the Most High as well, just on the left hand side, you know. He's not against the Lord, man. He does the Lord's bidding on the left hand side. A concept you won't learn in the church, you know. They'll teach you that there is a war in heaven, all that bullshit, all dogma, man. All Roman Catholic dogma, man. You know. Sirach 18 and 3, who governeth the world with the palm of his hand, and all things obey his will. All things, man. For he is the king of all, by his power dividing holy things among them from profane, separating the clean from the unclean, which is happening through the Spirit right now. This is Sirach, not Sirach, 2nd Esdras. Any points I want to bring home? Oh, yeah, Ezekiel 35 and 5, Slakia. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, that the time of their iniquity had an end. Yep. Ezekiel 35 and 6, therefore blood shall pursue thee. Therefore as I live, Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, therefore as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahshai power, I prepared thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. And that's going to be the fate of Esau, Edom, and his kingdom. You know, for great violence, it's going to be thrust down, man. That great city, Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America. 2nd Esdras 11 and 46, therefore all the earth may be refreshed, and may return being delivered from the violence, from thy violence. Who? The violent man, the bloody man, the wicked man, the thief, the murderer, the robber, you know, the culture vulture. Esau, 2nd Esdras 11 and 46, that all the earth may be refreshed and may return being delivered from thy violence. For the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence. You know, talking about Esau, man. And that she may hope for thy judgment, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her. You know, so Lord's will, this is edifying and clarifying. Just wanted to bang the point home, and didn't want it to be this long, but hey, you know, extra points are brought out through the Spirit. Lord's will, you still found it edifying. And until next time, next live stream, next live premiere, next live camp session, Shalom, DTA, Wa Abba Baba. Soon. Shalom.